Well, my friends, I'm Rick, and this is the table. We got Gray and White Mama here that's being a pain in the ass as usual. And we are looking at a Total Eclipse, a module for, or adventure module for Shadowrun. This was printed in 1991 because it's in huge, huge freaking print letters on that opening page right there, 1991. And there is Twilight, something that you're going to may or may not want to deal with. Right. All right. So Total Eclipse is a role-playing adventure set in the world of Shadowrun. The year is approximately 2050. Advances in technology, blah blah blah. This, yeah, blah blah blah. It just basically tells you the opening intros, and then we got game master notes. Total Eclipse uses the decision tree format by which the player's team can arrive at the same encounter via different routes, depending on the choices they make. I.e., you have different railroad stations for your conducting. That's basically how these books were ran and operated back in those days because we didn't have a concept of railroading. We were just doing what GMs do all the time. So you're preparing the adventure, starting off, telling it to them straight. Now, facing the fate, I'm not going to read through all that crap, right? Behind the scenes, Mr. Johnson is actually a shaman known as Eclipse. He wants to capture the Elemental's rock group because they seem to know a ritual that will free the spirit Twilight, as described in the plot synopsis. Eclipse offers the player characters 5,000 onion each per band member successfully brought into his condo by midnight tonight. He offers an additional 5,000 bonus for each runner if the complete copy of the album is also delivered at the same time. If the team tries to bargain this fee, have them make a success test, etc. Right. So we get into his hideout. So debugging. The player characters are incompetent or very unlucky. They cannot tail the band members to their homes. The runners can find the band members' addresses in the recording studio computer. The computer security level is a green 6 with only one barrier, 7 ice program. All right, so that would be introduction, the star search. Right. The, the address your employer gives you leads to one of the few prosperous areas. Right, few prosperous areas of the Redmond district, the Redmond Center Mall. This massive structure of chrome, neon tubing, steel, and plexiglass houses more than 200 different stores and businesses. The Elementals recording studios is on the first floor of a five-story building just across the street from the mall. Oh yeah, Eclipse was right. Civilian and Lone Star traffic in the air make the thought of trying anything here professional suicide for a Shadowrunner. I leave your heavy ordnance behind. Right. So we got Home of the Wind. Tell it to him straight. If Whispering Wind did not detect her followers, read the following. Whispering Wind lives in the Bellevue district. Her apartment is in development whose small one-story buildings all look the same. The area borders on the Redmond district, so you want to keep it quiet. Place is probably crawling with Lone Star cops. The lights apartments are on, but you don't see any movement behind the curtains. Or if Whispering Wind has been forewarned enough to prepare for the team's attack, or if the player characters are kidnapping band members one member at a time, and she is one of the last two to be picked up, or if she's detected her followers and got to her apartment ahead of them, read the following. Whispering Wind lives in the Belleville district, blah, blah, blah. You know, hey, same damn thing. What the hell are you reading the same thing twice? Debugging Whispering Wind. If the players hose it and kill Whispering Wind, they will anger Eclipse and lose part of their fee. The shaman will be forced to find a third-rate musician to sing the ceremony to heal Twilight. The ceremony will work without Whispering Wind, but it will take longer for Twilight to become completely rejuvenated. If Whispering Wind escapes the kidnapping attempt, she will warn Wildfire, take the surviving mercs with her, and then she and the mercs will hold up with Wildfire if he's not already been kidnapped. If he has already been captured, Whispering Wind will hook up with one of the other band members. If Whispering Wind loses her shadow and gets home before the runners to find her, she tries to contact the other band members as soon as she reaches her vid font. So we get bonus for the elf man. Tell it to them straight. No. Read this description if Wildfire is ignorant of the kidnapping attempt or becomes aware. Yeah. Wildfire rides deep into the Redmond Barrens ghetto into the Heartlands controlled by the Thrill Gangs. You follow him at what you hope is a safe distance, reasonably sure he will not spot you. Finally, he stops at a rundown two-story brick building surrounded by ruins. All right. And we go to the debugging section. If the players accidentally kill Wildfire, Eclipse will find a replacement musician. Of course, the player characters lose part of their fee if this happens. If Eclipse must use an alternate musician in the ceremony, Twilight will still be healed, but it will take longer. He's getting the gist there. As long as he's got the damn music and some of the band, maybe he should be fine. Then we get to the next part, Trailing the Troll. Bambi is the drummer, and he's a big honking troll. If Bambi failed to notice the player characters following him, read the following. You've been following Bambi deeper into the Redmond Barrens for several minutes now. It's easy to follow the large troll even on an even larger motorcycle, but traffic is fairly light in this area, and many of the buildings are in the process of or have been torn down. So you must take extra care to avoid being seen. You consider jumping Bambi before he reaches his destination, but several groups of go-gangers have already driven by, all with a friendly wave for Bambi. It looks like the elementals have a lot of fans in this area. This and the fact that Bambi might have a copy of the music at his place stops you from acting too soon. And so your options then is players decide to tag Bambi before he gets home. If the players are kidnapping band members one at a time, read the following. If the players decide to tag Bambi before he gets home, go immediately to behind the scenes. No, come on. No, get over. No, no, we're not doing that. Not just no. Sorry, Mama, but I give you plenty of attention. You're not going to waltz in there and shove everything out of the way. Read the following description. If Bambi takes notice of the player characters. So, in a nutshell, Bambi has two brothers. They're both trolls, and they're heavily armed. And they got this. They operate and hang out around this garments store for trolls that their dad started for them. And so that's kind of their thing, their hang up. So behind the scenes, right? Let's see. You get debugging. Yeah, debugging. Debugging for tailing the troll. If the characters kill Bambi, they lose part of their fee. Same thing. Right. Just goes to show you can kill most of the band, and as long as they get that cheap music for your contact or your Mr. Johnson there, you're gonna loot. You'll get some of your loot anyway. Tell it to them straight. Read the following description. If runners plan to kidnap Coyote immediately after tailing him to his destination. Coyote, the that's Coyote down here. That'd be the fellow that's I don't see the bassist. I don't know, whatever. Following the Indian, you said he hangs out with some squatters out in the Barrens. So that's basically what you do is you track him down to where he goes back every week, check on the same people he stayed with before he became famous, and they have a shaman, and the shaman gets a field spirit involved, and they all put up a fight. They're not going to let you to waltz in and hurt their buddy without at least trying to come to his aid in some man. So we got the cred stick on delivery. It's midnight time to deliver the goods and collect the pay. You usually find the address your Mr. Johnson gave you because it's one of the few blocks from the Pink Pitbull. Only a few blocks from the Pitbull. That an old 10-story apartment building. This address looks to be in better shape than most of the buildings nearby. But if you crane your neck, you can tell at least part of the roof is some sort of garden. All right. So you're going to go in there and behind the scenes try to get your money. If the trouble runners make trouble in Eclipse apartment, Game Master must play the situation out as it stands, or at half a dozen burly street toughs who come running in from adjoining areas. I can't see with you sticking your head in my mouth. Come on, get back. Come on, get over there. Nice. Now you've triggered something. Stop. Jeez. Okay, if the runners make trouble in Eclipse apartment, the game masters may play the situation out as it stands, or add half a dozen burly street toughs who come running from the adjoining areas of the apartment building, and attack the runners, allowing Eclipse, Dusk, Lupus, and the band to escape carrying Twilight's healing. So you got a couple of cronies in here by now that's been introduced kind of in the fine print part. Mr. Dusk and Mr. Lucas, when we get to it. There's also this Mr. Nemesis. Tell it to them straight. You just finished a successful run. It's still pretty early. Do you feel like resting, or do you want to go out and party? Behind the scenes, Eclipse decided the runners are loose ends that he wants tied up. Either earlier tonight, he's contacted an old friend who owes him a favor. The friend is a mage assassin known as Nemesis. He's also a vampire. So this fine fellow is also a vampire, and he goes to great lengths to make sure people don't know he's a vampire. So he's going to get you, or try to off you one way or another. You can't tell by the picture. He's a vampire. Debugging. The only way the characters can host things here is to lose the fight with the assassin and get killed. Nemesis would not inflict vampiricism on anyone else, no matter what the circumstances, because he must make an effort to create another vampire. It will not happen here. If the characters are killed by Nemesis, they die. So you don't have to worry about him, turning you into a bloodsucker. But the whole point, the whole end of the day, he's an assassin. You're supposed to defeat him or lose. Then we get to the next section. Nobody home. You and your angry friends are back at your former employer's apartment building. All the lights are out in the penthouse apartment. In fact, the whole building is dark. You have a bad feeling that Johnson and the crew have already left for Nan territory. He sent one assassin after you. He'll probably send another when he finds out you're still alive. Best take him out before that happens. But you have no idea exactly where he went. You don't know if he will even be coming back to Seattle. You hope you will find a clue to his whereabouts in his apartments. So basically, that's what you're going to do: is you're going to shank his apartment and shake it down and try to find some info, and hopefully not get iced in the process. Debugging. If the player's side Eclipse is more trouble than he is worth, decide not to hunt him down. The healing ceremony will succeed. Eclipse returns to Seattle with Twilight free and at full strength. Eclipse discovers the characters are still alive and goes after them personally, aided by Twilight, Dusk, and Lupus. If the runners try to warn the Nan authorities about the serious situation developing the borders, they will be ridiculed and then ignored. The characters will spend most of their time looking over their shoulders for Twilight and Eclipse. This is not just a paranoia. This nasty pair is out to get them, but they have a lot of time to prepare their defenses, right? Just so you know. Talk about railroading. You did your job. You did what you returned in. And now the guy that hired you wants to eliminate you because you're a problem. Shadows in the forest. Tell it to them straight. If the runners accept Eclipse offer and entering the forest with him in the van, read the following behind the scenes. So that's assuming you went along with them and didn't just take your money and leave and then become a target. You're still a target. Don't don't think that's not happening. Then we got debugging. If the players whip out and head back to Seattle after the ghouls wipe out the patrol, the ceremony will heal Twilight succeeds. So basically, you're in the woods and you're attacked by some. There's both a Salish City border patrol that you encounter and a pack of ghouls. And then there's some kind of freeway, or you get together with the Nan patrol to help defeat the ghouls, and then the Nan patrol slap ship side to head and sends you home anyway. Crowded neighborhood. Tell it to them straight. If the runners are following Eclipse in this group, read the following. Pairing the old man of the Nan territories you found in Eclipse's teepee with the current one, you get a general idea where Eclipse might be heading. So at the end of the day, the very beginning of the synopsis, I should have probably popped that part in anyway. There was this hidden cave in Australia that had a bunch of evil, wicked spirits confined to this cave, and they were trapped there with this barrier magic or something trapping them in the cave. And then this amateur shaman came along in one of the novels, of course, not too long before this came out, and unknowingly or accidentally dismisses the binding on the cave that keeps these spirits locked up, freeing them. And one of them is this spirit Twilight. So, and it's a bad juju. Right, and then he originated from an area in the Salish territory, not too far from Seattle, which is why he came back here, and with the aid of Mr. Eclipse here, who's seeking to get power from some kind of connection with the spirit. So, the runners are following Eclipse in this group. Read the following. Players' characters that accompany Eclipse into the forest and are captured by the patrol. Read the following after the group encounters the ghouls. Right? This was a close one. Those natives weren't so professional. Be puppy chow because the patrol had all your firepower. Reclaiming your weapons, you decide that your employer, piece of direct as he is, owes you some extra cred for abandoning you, and the remaining troopers, if any are left, are gladly return your equipment, even though they still don't completely trust you. They do want your help, to get rid of the damn ghouls. And so the entire team goes down and out in the fight with Lupus and Dust. The Grandmaster should create a handy SS patrol that can wander in and stop Eclipse from healing Twilight. The natives will heal the players in order to question them, checking out their stories by magical methods. Patrol finds them heavily, warns them not to enter Nan territory again without permission, sends the team back to Seattle. Right, so we have Kadaska Dusk. As a Dusk is an elf street samurai used to running the shadows for a long time. Lupus is the escape was or Eclipse is actually telling the truth when he introduced Lupus as a famous music video producer. Excuse me. He's also a wolf shapeshifter, right? As you know, the name didn't give it away right off the bat. But there's a weird thing going on here because we have a vampire and we have the undead and we have a werewolf for all intents and purposes, and we have a fellow that almost looks like a blasted drow. I'm just saying, right, man? It's just kind of interesting. House cleaning. Tell it to them straight. The characters that come to Eclipse and the Elementals into the forest and did not get separated from that group by the patrol read the following when they reach the area where the ceremony will take place. Your scout sneaks back to tell you the clearing you're heading to is already occupied. Surprised, you and your employer quickly follow the scout to the edge of the clearing. The large area is well lit by a full moon. A number of large stones slabs are scattered across the clearing in apparently random patterns. And yes, you can't put your head in my mouth. I can't talk. The blurred image of a female elf sits on the large slab in the center of the clearing. Standing around her are 10 hunchback humanoid figures, the soft giggling and carrying stench. More ghouls. More ghouls. Behind the scenes, the shadow concert debugging. This should be an easy fight, but if things go wrong and all the characters die, Eclipse plan to succeed and Twilight is healed. A related group of characters may come into conflict with Twilight and Eclipse in Seattle over the death of their friends or quickly different. The venture may evolve from the pair's nefarious schemes. So we have the shadow concert. Tell it to them straight. Thank you, Mama. Get over there for a while. If the players accompany Eclipse in Seattle through the Nantarity to the filming site, read the following. Yeah, Lupus shows you how to set up a number of battery-powered collapsible floodlights and several tripod-mounted Tridio recorders in which he has you placed at even intervals around the clearing. Dusk helps the elementals set up their equipment, also battery-powered, a large flat rock recently occupied by the Banshee. Elements start playing the healing spirit about an hour before dawn. As you listen to strangely compelling music, you notice low-lying fog creeping into the clearing, etc. And if the team caught up with Eclipse at the clearing where the ceremony is about to take, read the following, blah blah blah. You basically have a bad feeling about this. Not gonna be good. But there, see, with that thing coming after you. Players have a problem at this point only if they are killed or if they run away from Eclipse and Twilight. If they run away to Seattle, Twilight and Eclipse will hunt them down later. Then we get into the section on legwork. So we got contacts, you know, who's Eclipse. I can find out more about the elementals, Professor Vonin, Cast of Shadows. So we got Eclipse, the person himself. He's an active Shadowrunner for many years before retiring. He left the business of follow call to become a shaman of the spider totem. During his last Shadowrun, Eclipse fell through the rotted floorboards of an abandoned squat and landed quite literally in a room full of spiders. His leg broken. Expected the worst, the horde of spiders merely stared at him, however, and scooted quietly away when his friends appeared to rescue him. Eclipse is slightly mad if such a condition is possible, often muttering himself without rhyme or reason. He is nonetheless extremely intelligent, perceptive. He expects his arrangement with the spirit Twilight to seal his fate, and he may be right. And Twilight is a free spirit in greater form. See the Grimoire on page 75. Magicians trapped the ancient spirit called Twilight along with others of his kind in a magical prison in the Australian outback centuries ago. Recently, Sam Burner, a well-meaning but ignorant novice shaman, removed the power stone that sealed the prison. Twilight and the other more powerful spirits escaped, but at a cost, which is why the healing ritual is such important if this thing is to be at full power. Then we got Whispering Wind, the beautiful young woman with the equally beautiful voice, and Wildfire, the talented musician with an attitude unlike most other elves. Then we got Bambi, when Bambi and his two brothers had an understanding father, blah blah blah. When they hear the troll named Bambi, they laugh at us till they see him. Bambi is large even for a troll, which explains how he lives with his name. Then we have Coyote. Served many years in the nation military forces, he grew bored with his military career, however, and decided to pursue his true vocation, music. There you go. Picking up the pieces, the after facts, thwarting karma, players' handouts. Right? Always nice. There you have it. Total Eclipse, Shadowrun. Granny Mama settled down finally. Till next time.